It has came to my attention that a Rolling 60 Crip named Daryl Hill, aka Rolling Rich Trapper Cuz, is planning on suing me.
And I am just getting off a Zoom call with my lawyer. So with that all being said, let's jump into the subject at hand. What I can say for right now, don't get it twisted. A lot more is coming. A lot more is coming. But for right now, all I can say is this.
This is the best he could come up with. After being exposed for beating his baby mama beyond recognition, for beating up another girlfriend and catching a felony charge for that, for having a family domestic restraining order against him, for beating her up and choking her until she was unconscious. This is the response. After being exposed with evidence, his response is, hey, I got a lawyer. Hey, I can't say too much. Bro, we've seen that play before, bruh. Right? We've seen that at work before. The I can't say much right now. I got a lawyer. Sir, you are talking as if you've already convinced us that you have a lawyer. You still got a lot of work to do to convince us that you can afford a lawyer, okay? All right, you are the same one who had a GoFundMe out because you were homeless for months after like your apartment burned down. You ain't even have the money to afford a deposit and first month rent to get into a new apartment. And the reason why I'm even bringing that up, because you should never shame someone when they're down and out, is because that's his go-to. The first thing out of his mouth when he's beefing with someone is how broke they are. He called me broke. He called every one of his enemies broke. And he pops it online as if he's some rich millionaire rapper.
Shopping, Calabasas, big Gucci store teardowns, relationships with the jewelers, private jets.
This man has convinced himself in his thick skull that he's a millionaire. Same way he has convinced himself in his thick skull that he has a lawyer or that he even has a case against me. Sir, everything I said in that video was the absolute 100% truth. Okay? You was arrested for felony aggravated assault on that woman. You put hands on her and you whooped her until she was beyond recognition. No matter how much chat GPT you use or how many car videos you make trying to manipulate or convince the people, you can't talk your way out of the evidence, buddy. All right, here is a conviction. Felony aggravated assault. You did this to that woman. Here is more photo evidence that you threw her body against the wall while you pummeled her, okay? You did this. Now, this is one woman, right? This is just one woman he did this to. The other woman, his baby mama, she filed a restraining order against him. And in that restraining order, the temporary protective order, she documented how he choked her until she was unconscious. She provided text messages of him texting her, making threats. By the way, the number that he texted her from is a number that he texted me from, threatening me after acting like he was a fan of mine. Sir, you were caught dead in the water. There's no getting out of this. Multiple women have accused you of violating them in the worst way, violating them in ways that no man who has ever claimed to love a woman should violate a woman in. You gotta live with that, bruh. You got an issue. And you can't make the receipts and the photo evidence and the arrest report and the conviction, you can't make that go away. All right? And no matter how many, I can't talk about it, but y'all gonna see, is not gonna make it any better, bruh. You can't manipulate your way out of this, bruh. All right, now in our last video, we already debunked the age-old, well, how can I do this if I have custody of my kids?
To the first thing, I whooped my BM so bad, it was beyond recognition. How I got full custody of my kids. How I got full custody of all my kids. How? If any one thing, let's look at all this situation in totality. If any one thing was true that he said, how do I got full custody of all the kids? All of them. Not just one, not two, all of them. How am I picking up? How am I dropping off? How am I going to football practice? How are we going to jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai? How am I doing all of that? See, what I won't say, what I won't discuss, shout out to my BM. Great mom, great woman, Great woman, great woman. Shout out to the mother of my children. They are a godsend. With that all being said, that's all I can say about her. We'll leave that right there. Sticking to the subject at hand.
You sound defeated. You don't even sound like you are convincing yourself anymore, bruh. When you used to lie with a certain level of oomph and confidence. Now you just sound defeated, bruh. Because you got to look in that camera knowing everybody you're talking to know you're a fraud and a liar. Okay? Sir, first off, in our last video, we discussed multiple women. And we're going to go down the list, okay? The first woman we accuse him of beating up and throwing her up against the wall and getting arrested for it and beating her till she's bloody, that woman name is Keeks, okay? He dated Keeks before he dated Aria Sanders. Now, when he was dating Keeks, he was abusive throughout the entire relationship. She testified to that. He whooped her, got a criminal record for it. Keeks sent a message to everybody. She wants the world to know that you and her don't have any kids together, right? That you was abusive and you beat her up and you did her badly and you violated her in the worst way, but she wasn't dumb enough to give you a child. So what does you having custody have to do with you beating up and pummeling and getting a criminal record for beating up Keeks? What does that have to do with anything? Okay. Now let's move on to Aria Sanders, okay? His baby mama. He says, I have custody of my kids. No, sir. No. Aria is a beautiful mom. She's a good mother, right? Aria has primary custody of that son. We took a look at the temporary protective order, which we already saw, right? It was approved. You try to get it thrown out. It didn't work. The judge reinstated it, all right? And the judge, and it was for a year. The year ain't even over yet, bro. You don't have primary custody. Aria does. But what you are doing is you have multiple kids. You have only one kid with Aria. You have multiple kids. So you're using those other kids as a pawn to say, see, I have custody of my kids. Those are not her kids. Why would she have custody of those kids? Those are not her kids, buddy. All right? You'll be better off, bro, just coming out and saying, hey, I did wrong in my past. I beat women, multiple women. They're telling the truth. I don't want to re-victimize them, so I'm going to be quiet. But choosing to embarrass yourself by speaking out or continue to try to lie about these things just won't work out. And those threats of having a lawyer, we know you don't have no lawyer. We know all that is you trying to avoid accountability. You thinking, you saying you have a lawyer would explain, right? You sounding like baffled, you sounding like a bumbling idiot, and you think, well, I can't say too much right now because, you know, man, I'm getting it taken care of. I'm getting it taken care of. I can't say too much right now, but y'all gonna, bruh, nobody is buying that, bruh. Not a soul.
I wouldn't think that it would be possible for a judge to grant me full. So you mean to tell me the same judge that will allow a restraining order or a protective order because a woman was whooped outside of recognition, will allow that same woman to not have custody of her kid, and that same father would have full custody? How would that work? How would that make sense? Where's the logic in that? You feel me? I'm just trying to figure it out because I know people are going to do and say a lot of things. I can't stop the doing and says. You feel me? I can't stop the dudes. I can't stop the says. They're going to do what they do. They're going to say what they say. I can't stop the dudes and the says. I learned that a long time ago. But just speaking at it from a logical standpoint, how does that make sense? And then you take it to ODM Simp. The disappointment in ODM Snitch is crazy because now you're teaming up as a black father, ODM Snitch, as a black father. You are teaming up with the same ninja who called the police on you and put CPS on your house when you had something going on with your children. Interesting narrative. But what we're not going to get into today is the type of father that ODM Snitch is not. That's not what we're here to talk about. What we're not here to talk about is ODM Snitch getting on his knees for Flacco and being a good boy. It's not what we're here to talk about either. But what we are here to talk about in reference to ODM Snitch, you cried. You was frustrated. Man, Flacco, I'm fighting for my kids, and I got this going on. My baby mama locked up, and I got this, and I got that, and I'm here, and I'm there, and I'm everywhere. And the first thing you go to is trying to go against me and my kids. Oh, ODM Snitch. Tisk, 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 tisk. The idea of me putting my hands on one of their mothers to the extent that she's number one unrecognizable, preposterous. And then if you look at the date and all that kind of stuff, when this woman alleged that event happened, If you look at that same summer, we were in Calabasas for 7 weeks. So regardless of what she said happened after the fact of our relationship, the timeline will show that when she says that all this situation and all that kind of stuff happened, I later took her shopping, Calabasas, big Gucci store teardowns, relationships with the jewelers, private jets, all kind of things like that. So I can't imagine that if that's something that I did to her, she would be comfortable being on a private jet with me, Calabasas vacations, Gucci store bust downs, day-to-day living, day-to-day cohabitating, no police report, no criminal charges ever being filed, and that alleged event would have happened while I was on probation. So even if she never decided to press a charge for it, that would be an automatic violation of my probation that I was on at the time. I wouldn't be on here talking to y'all. So that's that. But I'm gonna give y'all more detailed and more in-depth look at this situation. Oh, it's gonna get good. Trust me, it's gonna get good because we're gonna break some things down. And I just hope that in the meantime, in between time, everybody's being a great parent. You feel me? I hope everybody's being a great parent.
Talking in circles, repeating the same lies we done debunked already. You have custody of those twins because they aren't her kids. And you don't even have a kid with the other victim. So what does you having your twins who aren't their kids have to do with you putting your hands on those people? It doesn't, right? And you even claiming, hey, listen, man, how could I put my hands on her when she let me take her shopping and put her on a private jet? First off, we don't believe you were ever on a private jet. We don't believe you was ever living like that. You've always been someone who was a grifter and Paul, all right? We don't believe you. But let's just say we do believe a shred of anything that's coming out of your mouth. Let's just say, okay, she did allow you to take her shopping afterwards. What does that prove exactly? She wouldn't be the first woman to get beat up and go back to a man who was abusing her, right? If that's true, if we take what you're saying is true, she wouldn't be the first. That doesn't neglect you, like what you did to her. And your only reason is, well, she said these things. She said I did it. She said I beat her. She said I whooped her beyond recognition. She said I choked her until she was unconscious. But she was lying, yo, even though I was arrested and convicted. Enough of this bum, bruh. All right. I don't want you to be like this bum. I want you to elevate yourself, okay? Like me. Okay. I've made $90,000 in 28 days on YouTube. I made over $600,000 this year so far. I want to show you how to get money on YouTube. All right. YouTube ain't hard. Like people just gatekeep the secrets, okay? But I have a link in my description is of a step-by-step on exactly how to grow on YouTube and how to make six figures on YouTube, okay? Follow this step-by-step. You should be making 10K a month within 3 months, okay? If you want, the link is in the description. You can also book a one-on-one consultation with me to take a look at your YouTube and give you advice or sign up to win a free consultation. I pick one of you guys every month. Links are in my description, okay? And if you're still watching this, click on this video right here somewhere on my screen, here, or here on my screen to find out why the feds are accusing Lil Durk of trying to kill his own friends, trying to kill members of O Block because they did this apparently. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.